Welcome back. As you can tell by my attire, it is full-on hunting season. Today, an overnight hot tenting adventure. This is the shoulder season. I got this great spot right here. I've known about this spot for a while. I've been out in this area in the past, and I remember this beautiful camp spot because I was some moose hunters that were camped out here a few years ago when I was traveling through the area, and I kept it in my notes as a place to camp out. So I'm here for multiple agendas. We'll talk more about that later. And the puppies are chasing each other. All is good. It's very brisk. All that white stuff behind me, that's not just frost. There's a very thin fluff of snow. Yesterday it was below freezing here, and tonight I'm expecting -4 as far as the forecast is concerned. You know, break out that wood stove, get it going, and stay nice and toasty in the tent tonight. Follow along. Let's go have fun. The sun is trying to peek through the clouds. It's feeling good on the face. Feel that warmth. And this truly is a nice sight. It's all nice solid gravel. The ground is not quite frozen yet. Those ice anchors that I have for the hot tent work perfect in this semi-frozen ground. I even have a thunder box in the rear at the back end of the site, although it is a little bit frosty. Well, it's noon hour. Time for a little snack. I'm mostly set up. I still got some more work to do, but I'm mostly set up. You may have noticed that I had brought some firewood with me. In the back of the truck there's some cut and split firewood. And one may say, why bring firewood? You're in the forest. If you look over my shoulder, that's all fresh aspen saplings. There's not a whole lot of firewood to be had. Sometimes you go out into the bush and there isn't any firewood to be had. You'll have to travel a long ways to find something dead, fallen, and then I still have to cut it, split it, haul it. I have to find it first before I do all that. And when you're on an overnight adventure, it's nice to dedicate most of your time to other chores other than firewood. So the firewood that I have, number of things. It supports a local person that does this for a living, selling firewood. So for a few dollars, I'm helping locally. I don't have to look for dry wood. It is dry. I'll have to split it down smaller because I have a smaller stove. And it just gives me the more opportunity to go out into the forest and do my hunting. And as I mentioned earlier, I have multiple agendas, one of which is scouting for future canoe adventures. Okay, Riley? Yeah. Now I see why there are moose hunters camped out here. So I walked down the trail some ways. There's a boat cache, and this lake is all marshland around the perimeter. Complete moose territory. This is the kind of place you'd expect to see moose to hang out in. Let me take the camera and give you another look of it. So 100% I'm going to keep this as a future canoe destination. This was one of my objectives here today on this overnight hot tent adventure. One is to catch some grouse. Two, I had this lake on my radar to come and find a way into it, because it just looked interesting to me via satellite imaging. Probably just another pike lake, but nonetheless it's a beautiful lake and I'd love to paddle it and camp out on it. Look out for that in the future. So 100% success today. I got my bag limit of grouse, which is always a bonus. Tomorrow, hopefully I'll get my limit for tomorrow's grouse hunting on my way out. And I am not cooking grouse here today. I brought some other food. Part of the reason I'm out here is to fill the freezer, so to speak. I want to maximize my legal limit of grouse and put it in the freezer, all for future meals back home. I'm going to switch out this sweater, put something a little bit lighter, although it is getting cool out here. It's supposed to go below freezing tonight. We shall see. The door is open because it's getting too hot, which is to be expected. Now I have to get supper started. The first thing I gotta do is I have to boil my potatoes so that they are partially cooked. Alright, while the potatoes are boiling, phase 2, onions. Chop up some onions, and I'm going to keep a little bit of this for tomorrow because the plan is scrambled eggs. A little bit of onion in your scrambled eggs is excellent, so I'm not going to take it all. Awesome. Bush cooking is just so good, isn't it? But it doesn't have to be complicated. As you've seen, one bush pot, one frying pan, mini potatoes, a cooking onion, one protein in the way of cured meat, some seasoning, some hot sauce, and topped off with some grated cheese. It's a win. Catch you all in a few. Well, that certainly was a good supper. But it's chilling down out there. Clear skies. Absolutely gorgeous out there. Not a stitch of wind, not even a breeze, nothing. And like I mentioned before, they're calling for -4 Celsius. It'll be a little freezing tonight. And you know what? I wouldn't be the least bit surprised if it's going to drop colder than that. Just because it's a clear night and no wind. And usually a clear night this time of year, man, it could get pretty... Get out of there, Ryu. It can get pretty pretty cold. Get out of there. You're gonna get burnt on the stove, puppy. Puppy still has a lot of things to learn. But now it's time for a little dessert. And what do I have here? Strawberry Pop-Tart. I knew it was a Pop-Tart, but I didn't know what flavor. So quite simple. That's a great thing about a hot tent. With a source of heat always rolling, I can take a simple Pop-Tart, throw it on the stove. since the puppers have decided to take over my bed, I might as well have my last beer and maybe a game of solitaire. It was a cold night. It's nice to be able to warm up. I purposely let the fire die out last night because as I was waking up, putting more wood into the stove and keeping things nice and super heated in here, nice and toasty warm, suddenly I realized I was running out of wood. So I decided to just let it die out so that I could have wood to start a fire this morning and at least have a coffee. I'm hoping I got enough wood to cook breakfast, but I certainly will have enough to have a coffee. Oh, the ravens are waking up. Half the night I was listening to a grouse. There's a grouse out there somewhere not too far away, and it's drumming. And I was a little bit surprised. I thought grouse were not active throughout the night, and I was surprised to hear that. For hours I kept listening to this grouse drumming out there. Pretty frosty out there. So once I have my coffee in me and possibly breakfast, then I'll go for a walk, and once I come back from my walk, tear down camp and then hunt on the drive home. Oh yeah, that is a good coffee. But now it's time to start on breakfast. Here's a hot tent cooking trick for you folks out there. You're making toast on a wood stove. You take your bread, you stick it right to the stovepipe. Or in this case, for me today, I stuck it to the side of the stove. If your stove is hot enough, it will glue itself immediately. Here's the beauty about doing toast this way. The bread will fall off when it's ready. You never have to touch it. You never have to check it. The last thing you want to do is peel it back and see what it looks like. It will fall off when it's done. And if you're worried about your stove being rusty and all that, don't worry about that. The rust will not stay stuck to the bread. It doesn't matter how rusty your stove is. Take your bread, stick it to the pipe or the side of the stove. Remember folks, you saw it first right here on Open Air Outdoors. that good. Everyone, today is shaping up to be another successful day. I'm packing up. I'm going to get out of here. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for joining me on this little overnight adventure, hot tenting in Northern Ontario. Catch you on the next one.